Hello, I'm going to present in English. My name is Miglena Dikova, and I am a lecturer at the University of Ghent in Belgium in the section of Slavic languages and cultures, and I teach mainly Bulgarian language and Bulgarian literature and culture. Today I'm going to be speaking about the future of nostalgia, and this in connection with two reasonably recent Bulgarian novels. The first one is of Alek Popov, and it's called Mission Turan. The second one, maybe, I hope you have heard about this, it's Georgi Gospodinov's Time Shelter. Georgi Gospodinov won this year's Booker Prize, so he is becoming very quickly very famous. Now, what is nostalgia? What is nostalgia? Many specialists, many researchers, many authors have asked the question, but one of the most known ones is Svetlana Biom, who in her 2001 book, The Future of Nostalgia, and my title is a quote of her title, famously divides nostalgia in two main types. It's a restorative and reflective nostalgia. So, what is a restorative nostalgia? This is a special kind of nostalgia that aims at restoring the past, or it aims at actively recreating the past into the future and into now, our life right now. Reflective nostalgia is a bit a kinder type of nostalgia, and it's melancholical. Basically, it consists in memories and reliving the past, but in a rather calm and, I will say, politically very agreeable way. You all know maybe the lexicon, which was published on ex-Yugoslavia in the beginning of 2000, and it's a recollection of life in ex-Yugoslavia with music, artists, favorite cafes. So the reflective nostalgia is exactly this second type of nostalgia. It doesn't threaten the life now. Now, what is the future of this nostalgia according to the two Bulgarian novels? Georgi Gospodinov's novel, and I will begin with this, is more part of the first kind of nostalgia, reflective nostalgia, because I'll tell you about the plot of the novel. While Mission Turan of Alek Popov, he is a satirical writer, he is rather sharp. So Mission Turan talks about the mixture of nostalgia with active politics, and it's never a good idea. Very shortly, about the plot of Time Shelter, and one of the main characters is Agustin. It's a very interesting character. It's not the first novel of Georgi Gospodinov into which this character, literary character, plays a main role, but I'm not going to go into this now. Anyway, in this novel, Agustin he's a psychiatrist, and he makes a big discovery that with Alzheimer's patients, what helps is when they are placed in touch with their past in one or another way. So if they go to a favorite cafe of their youth, suddenly they come to life, to a long forgotten country. There is a story of a Bulgarian woman, of course Georgi Gospodinov is Bulgarian, who hears just the name of Sofia, and suddenly she starts talking. Anyway, Agustin places his patients in their favorite time zone. And here it's very interesting to mention that Agustin doesn't work with space, he works with time. Basically, he discovers that each patient has her or his favorite time zone. If I ask you to think about your favorite time zone, like maybe for some of you it's childhood, maybe some of you is even some traumatic incident or traumatic time, because the novel doesn't deny the right of existence to very traumatic experiences. So some of the Ghostin patients are placed in a rather difficult situations, and he very to a detail reconstructs the time of this lost period, as you can see, from cigarette boxes to wallpaper. And because his clinic becomes extremely very successful, he books great results, suddenly the politics gets involved and entire countries decide to take over the project, and they begin to create entire cities which are placed in one or another time period. What Ghostin, through the, actually Georgi Gospodinov, through the voice of, and this is Georgi Gospodinov, Time Shelter, his translator, Angela Rodel, and the Booker Prize ceremony. What Georgi Gospodinov discovers through the voice of Ghostin is that actually the past could become our future. And the past, the current moment, now, and the future hold a very, very complex and interesting relationship. And actually, what we know for certain is the past, never the future. So the future becomes the most threatening thing which can happen to us. And here is what one of the patients is thinking: I'm getting old, excited, exiled every further from the Rome of childhood, in the distant, empty provinces of old age from which there is no return. And Rome no longer answers my letters. And he finishes here: let me go back home. My mother told me not to be late. And for Ghostin patients, this could become a reality. His patient from Rome can safely return in the time period of his childhood. So the clinic will recreate the exact room of his early childhood memories. And here again, another patient somewhere in the Andes, they believe to his very day that the future is behind you. This is a bit more philosophical. It comes up from behind your back, surprising and unforeseeable, while the past is always before our eyes, that which has already happened. When they talk about the past, the people of the Aymara tribe point in front of them. You walk forward facing the past and you turn back towards the future. And maybe we can remember here Walter Benjamin's Angel of History, which also is moving backwards. So what can we conclude here? That it's very, very, it's part of human nature to be nostalgic and to try to recreate the past. I don't know how you personally feel about this, but to me it rings very, very true. Because the past is a safe place. Why? Because we have already survived it. We are now. The past has been good, the past has been safe for us. What we cannot say about the future. So we established that exchanging the places of the past and the future, recreating nostalgically the past as our current and maybe future moment, is a very human thing to do. When, and this is a restorative, reflective nostalgia. There are less agreeable moments in Georgi Gospodinov's novel when the nostalgia gets a bit political. Let's think about Brexit, for example, and lack of desire to change, lack of desire to create a very different future. Now, when the nostalgia becomes dangerous is when nostalgia touches upon politics and very strong emotions, and this can happen when a nostalgia about the socialist past, and this is typical for the region of the Balkans. It's typical about Bulgaria. I'm going to talk about Bulgaria. I gave a seminar at the University of Helsinki about post-communist nostalgia in ex-Yugoslavia and Bulgaria Albania and Romania, we share a lot of common traits when it comes to remembering the socialist past. But what becomes really less interesting when the post-communist nostalgia, the nostalgia about the socialist communist past, meets nationalism. And here I have pointed out several points how this could eventually happen. And what is the historical and conceptual dependency between socialism and nationalism? The period of socialism is associated with concepts of political universality and brotherhood. People from my generation and older remember this. Socialism becomes the loss of the peaceful coexistence between different groups, ethnic groups, national groups. But the period of socialism is linked to the rise of nationalistic political feelings and actions, which is the case of Bulgaria on several occasions. Also, the socialist government, the socialist regime in Bulgaria established a very specific cult towards the past, a very specific past, which now is coming back under the guise, not very secretive guise, of nationalism. And again, post-communist nostalgia versus against nationalist nostalgia. And post-communist nostalgia could be restorative, reflective, I'm repeating this, and nationalist nostalgia tends to mostly be restorative. And what is a nationalist nostalgia? And here is the definition. Nationalism turns culture into politics under the assumption of a nation, ethnic homogeneity and memorable past events, golden age and time of grandeur. I guess we are also very, very familiar with those concepts. In Bulgaria, those nationalist feelings are mainly associated with two periods, with the First Bulgarian Kingdom, the medieval Bulgaria, and with the national revival. Now, don't misunderstand me, nothing bad with these periods, just the interpretation of these periods could turn a bit wrong, in quotation marks. And nationalist nostalgia is mainly defensive, protecting the nation, closing or opening borders, and triggers the rise of social, economical, political anxiety during the uncertain times, and the social tensions based on class and position, which are typical for the socialist kind of social structure, become the distinction between natives and immigrants, which we can witness also now. And what is typical for nationalist nostalgia is that historical past serves as the political future. All of this is part of the plot of Alek Popov's novel, Mission Turan, where a Bulgarian scientist leads an expedition to discover the very ancient source of the origin, the cradle of the Bulgarian civilization. It's a very funny novel, very sarcastic, and of course, this plays a very big bad trick on the scientists, because the local government, it happens in the one of the former Soviet republics in Siberia, near Siberia. The local government decides to begin to sell a Bulgarian citizenship, Bulgarian passports, which serves the government because they earn money, and the Bulgarian government at the same time because they earn voters, they earn votes in the upcoming election. Okay, so this is Alek Popov for you, and let me conclude that, the future of nostalgia is twofold. One is very gentle and reflective, the other is quite ugly and restorative, so be aware. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.